All right, everyone, welcome back into another Prize Picks video. It is Taco Tuesday, so what does that mean? It is going to be profit day. Let's go in and get into the top prop bets for Taco Tuesday. Now, guys, I actually want to start out this video with pulling up two props on the ODDSJAM fantasy optimizer that they have pulling up here as good ones. I'm gonna be rolling with these for the League of Legends props, and so we can bet and we can see the odds that they have for the taco to hit here as well. I'm gonna be pairing both of these up individually with that taco to start the day off with. Those are two pretty good bets that we're getting. And then, guys, really the board that we have today is going to be extremely tight, and you guys will notice that I do have some NHL props listed in there now. Pretty fun to have that back, right? Now, I do want to call out, that's the reason why this video was a little bit later than normal. I was working on getting that updated. I might go ahead and add in a specific NHL tab as well, like I have done for football, NBA, MLB. I think I'm going to do that for NHL as well, so be on the lookout for that. As it sits right now, though, they aren't really giving us that many props, okay? They're giving us points, that's good. They're giving us hits, but typically speaking, our bread and butter is going to be shots on goal. And right now, the only really good one that we have is going to be Chris Letang here, where we can see it's about a 53.2% chance for that to hit. And when we compare that against the projection data, maybe a little bit more likely to hit. So if you are trying to get some exposure to maybe a NHL prop, that would be one that we roll with. That's kind of it, though. Like we're not really getting that many good ones, it seems like. And just for example purposes, like we're gonna see that all the ones that we would be getting that would be like awesome bets to bet on, where the over percent is over 54% likely to hit, they have already went ahead and bumped up all those. No surprise there. We have seen that all of last season. You know, there's a few times during the NBA season where they're not as fast to adjust, but just want to call that out. There's gonna be one really, I shouldn't say really good, but good enough hitting fantasy score prop we could roll with. That would be Corey Seager for over hitting fantasy score. Remember, what we always like to look for here is both the Vegas line being over the PrizePicks line by 2 and also the projection data being over that line by 2. We're going to see, and I believe this got slightly bumped because I'm pretty sure this was 3 and 2 earlier for the prop line differences. So still a decent one, but not like a lock and load like we would want. We go and take a peek at the pitching fantasy score prop, and this is kind of crazy, is that the projection data really likes Christian here to get over his PrizePicks line of 20.5, and the Vegas data does as well. So right now I'd say we got 4 pretty good props that we can go ahead and pair individually with those tacos that we get today. So it's looking like a decent slate. And now NFL wise, just so you guys can see, I wouldn't say we're really getting a big edge here at all. This was one that was popping up earlier, so if someone was in there using the 9 to 5 cheat sheet, if you guys want access to that, it's available on the 9 to 5 website for just $10 a month. This was at 7.5. They have since bumped it up to 8.5, so not really a big edge there. Marvin Mims Jr., I find this line to be interesting at 16.5 on PrizePicks. He is someone that you would expect them to get more involved in. He also had a crucial fumble where they did try to get him the football. Tough to say exactly. If you guys want to roll with that, you can. We got Russell Wilson here at 19.5 for rushing yards. He is someone that has been looking to run the football a little bit more. You know, he is someone that probably should have had a rushing touchdown last week. Instead, he slid. I don't know if you guys have seen the replacements. It's the opening scene. The quarterback, I think it's Martellus. The owner's watching it. Martellus does a slide at the goal line to lose the game. And the owner's like, Martellus, you're a wimp. That's how it felt like on that rush from Russell Wilson. And then literally after that drive, him and Sean Payton are getting into it. So it's just weird stuff going on in Denver. But overall, we're not really getting that many big props there for NFL just yet. Pretty much all of them are going to be around 50-50. College football, though, we are maybe getting a decent edge here. All right, so we got Holden Willis. You could be betting the under for the PrizePicks line. We can see that is at 69.5, whereas the average sportsbook line has it set at 62.5. The projection data has it set at 62.7. Underdog has it set at 65.5 or 66.5. No, 65.5. Yeah. Not a terrible prop there that we're getting. And that's really going to be another one. So right now we have 5 really good props that we can go ahead and pair with those tacos. So like real quickly here, guys, I'm going to be getting into some NCAA football props and NFL props as well. Just in case these lines change, but I want to get these bets out to you guys so you can pause this video, go in and place those bets. There still will be enough time left on the taco for you guys to place the bets. This is what I'm looking at. I like these first 5 the most for sure. And then I want some NHL exposure. It's opening night. Let's go ahead and get some. So I'm going to be rolling with that one there. So pause the video, go make those bets, and then we'll begin into some NCAA and NFL. All right, so looking at it, guys, we have about 3 games tonight, and they're all expected to be high scoring for NCAA, and they're all expected to be relatively close. So we should be able to get some good props. Now, I already showed you guys we got one here that's I kind of like. And honestly, when we go through this, given how these games are supposed to go, where they're supposed to be high scoring, I could see the opportunity where we are just running out some game stacks here. I think that that's a strong possibility. The issue is like when I typically run out a game stack, I typically like to do fantasy score. And so maybe that's not something you guys want to roll with. But we are going to see this one is maybe a little bit overvalued by a few yards. And then just real quickly, while I'm at the MLB, it is funny that last week, the best prop that we got was Jordan Montgomery over fantasy score. He was attached to a taco to start the day in the early game. That's what's happening right now as well. Can't control that. It's just super frustrating. Overall, last week we did end up going 4 for 7. Ryan Tannehill was kind of the clutch deciding factor to make it be a pretty strong Taco Tuesday. That was a very low prop line that we had. And if we're looking at the prop lines that we're getting for NFL right now, we're not going to be getting a lot of Vegas lines just yet. It's a little bit too early. But looking at, I think this line for Zach Wilson is going to be too low. He was someone that I did like for the over against Denver as well. They really just did not need to throw the football that much in that game. Now, that's because they're able to establish the run and get it going. Breece Hall looked good. You don't expect that to occur against Philly, and you also expect them to be playing from behind for the most part in this game. That's kind of my expectation. Also, Philly has allowed teams to throw the football against them. For me, it's going to be tough to imagine them going back to that. It was kind of a bad game plan, honestly. They kind of got away with it with Breece Hall kind of stepping up, and all in all, that's probably what they wanted to do. But I just feel like they're going to have to throw the football a little bit more. It's a little bit of a game script dependent play there, but I would say that's going to be a prop that probably gets up to around 200 yards. Now, it was crazy. I referenced the Ryan Tannehill one. That one went up like 20 yards. It was freaking crazy there. Another one that I kind of find interesting is Russell Wilson. I don't think we're touching it. Also, Patrick Mahomes is kind of interesting there as well. Also, I don't think we're touching those, but both of those seem to be a little bit too low to me. We go ahead and move on to rushing yards. We saw that Russell Wilson over rushing yards could be a decent one. He might have to rush the football for them to have a really good game. Javonte Williams is definitely an interesting one just because Jaleel McLaughlin looked really good. This reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara's rookie year, where Sean Payton kind of made it clear that he liked Alvin Kamara, and it was just a matter of time before he came the workhorse back. And it's not like Javonte Williams has looked bad. It's just McLaughlin has definitely looked better. They're going to need to get him some more touches. And Samaje Perine has looked good as well. And Javonte Williams has been impressive as well, given the injury situation. And I do expect that they sat him on Sunday simply because they had a Thursday night football game. They probably wanted him to be active for this one. But also, you kind of let the cat out of the bag there. Like, McLaughlin's going to have to get some work. So it wouldn't be surprising to see more of a 40-40 split maybe between Javonte and Samaje, and then McLaughlin getting around 20% of the snaps at the same time. It shouldn't be. Like, McLaughlin looks so good. It shouldn't be that case. And so maybe we're just betting the under for Javonte Williams there. Now, this is another one that to me kind of stood out on paper. And I'm not saying bet it. I don't really like doing the quarterback rush yards because it is very much, it feels lucky. But Tannehill has looked to pull the football and run with it a little bit more this season. And it's not like he's going to get big gains, but you can get, 5 yards here, 6 yards there, and he gets the over. And then this one with DeAndre Swift kind of stood out to me. I think I'd rather be doing like a combo prop. We're not going to get that though, I don't think. It's just the Jets defense looked pretty poor against the run last week. And maybe that's just Denver rushing the football well. I already mentioned Perine and McLaughlin look good, but DeAndre Swift has looked good as well. And you kind of expect them to be playing with the lead. And maybe that's why Swift wouldn't get the over, because they just default to maybe Kenneth Gainwell. We have seen that happen in the past where he's more of their grinder, the guy that can close out a game for them. Maybe that occurs, but at the same time, that does seem like a low number given how poor the Jets looked defensively last week. And receiving yards, guys, I was hoping that we would get another Noah Gray prop, just because I do think it's going to be more of a 50-50 split between the two. For what it's worth, I am expecting Kadarius Toney to get more and more work as the season progresses, as long as he doesn't have an injury setback. 31.5 receiving yards does seem to be a little bit too high. I was hoping we'd get some sort of receptions prop that I could give to you guys. But all in all, this does seem to be very hit or miss in terms of like who we want to be going out of our way to bet for receiving yards. Now, I do want to call it the snap counts from last week. Like, Noah Gray was second. That's why I think he could be a good one. MVS 65. Obviously, Travis Kelce dealing with that injury. We saw Sky Moore drop a little bit in his snaps. Justin Watson still at his normal snap share. But yeah, Kadarius Toney, I think as the season progresses, he will eventually become that receiver number one like we all thought he would be at the start of the season. It's just obviously the injuries. They don't want to give him a lot of work, and that could be the reason why. Rice continues to be a guy that's not messing up. He doesn't look good, but everyone's like kind of hyping him up because he's the only one doing anything. I do want to call out as well, they did make a point of emphasis on the broadcast to bring up Justine Ross as someone they want to get more involved. And what that lead to? Like 2 catches, 10% of the snaps. Like, it was weird. It was weird because like anytime you hear the broadcast crew like bring something up like that, that's because someone on the Chiefs staff that they were talking to prior to the game mentioned that. Like, that was a point of emphasis. I kind of mentioned with the whole Bijan Robinson stuff. DFS wise, I thought Bijan Robinson was going to be a really good play last week, and he kind of was, but literally like 2 plays into the game, the broadcast crew mentioned how Arthur Smith wanted to get Tyler Algier more involved, and sure as that did happen. So just kind of funny there. And guys, that's just my way of saying, if we get Noah Gray that pops up in there, like, I like it, like, go for it. If we had to, I would almost say like MVS is due for a big catch. He casually hasn't been terrible. Other than that, like, receiving yards, I feel like we're not getting any that stand out to me personally. It does kind of feel like to me, like if you were watching the game, Devonta Smith was getting a little bit frustrated about not getting targets. And it's kind of like the San Francisco issue. There's too many mouths to feed. A player is not going to have a good game here or there just because of that. But we saw AJ Brown the first 2 games really be frustrated that he wasn't being involved in the offense. So I kind of expect that to go back to Devonta Smith in this game. So there, to me, there should never be that big of a separation between those two. This should basically be the same. And so maybe there's something there for. That's going to be all for this video. Just pulling up the bet of the day once again. We are going to be pairing these individually with those tacos. Just want to recall that. It's unfortunate that we're not going to be able to use this one. It is what it is. Sorry. Like, it sucks, honestly. Well, maybe we might be able to if they get us the second taco in enough time. Well, that's going to be all for this video. If you guys want access to that ODDSJAM Fantasy Optimizer, make sure to click the link in the description below, oddsjam.com. Use the promo code 95 to get 25% off. That's going to kick back some money my way as well. Make sure to be checking out the link in the description below for 95sports.com to get access to that PrizePicks Underdog cheat sheet. Just for $10 a month gives you access to a bunch of NFL DFS tools, fantasy golf tools as well. That season is going on right now. Deep dive tools there for that. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.